Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Let me hit you with a simple truth. Most men are terrified of losing a woman. That fear, it runs their every move. They chase, they cling, they overinvest, they show up too often, they try too hard. And the more they do, the less she feels. Because here's the thing, women don't want a man who needs them. They want a man who can walk away. A man who values his peace over her approval. A man whose world won't crumble if she pulls back. In today's world where women are constantly bombarded with likes, DMs, attention from every direction, the guy who doesn't chase, the guy who doesn't beg, that man stands out. Because emotional strength is magnetic. This isn't about playing games. It's about mastering yourself. And once you do, the entire dynamic shifts. She starts leaning in. She becomes curious. She starts to pursue, because in a world full of men who chase, the man who can walk away holds the real power. And today we're breaking it all down. 7 clear reasons why this one mindset changes everything, and how you can start living it right now. So hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. Number 1. Power attracts, neediness repels. Let's start here, my friend, because this is where most men get it all wrong. They think if they're nicer, more available, more giving, more present, she'll want them more. But here's the brutal truth. Neediness repels. Every time you chase, every time you try to prove your worth, every time you overinvest, you lose power. And when you lose power, you lose attraction. Now think about this. Why do some men, without trying, pull women in like a magnet? It's not about looks. It's not about money. It's about presence. It's about emotional power. That inner frame that says, I like you, but I don't need you. That is what draws women in. Because power, real, emotional power, is rare. And here's the thing, women don't always say this out loud, but they feel it instantly. When a man enters the room and his energy says, I'm good with or without you, that's magnetic. But when a man walks in with nervous energy, hoping for her approval, trying to win her over, she feels that too. And that energy, it pushes her away. Now most guys think the opposite. They think, if I show her how much I care, if I'm always there for her, if I never miss a chance to show interest, she'll like me more. But what they don't realize is, that screams neediness. And nothing kills attraction faster than neediness. You see, women want to be chosen by a man who doesn't need them. That's the key difference. They don't want to feel like you're chasing because you lack options. They want to feel like you have a full life. And you've selected them because they meet your standard. That subtle shift changes everything. Now, where does this come from? It comes from mindset, from how you view yourself, from knowing that you are whole with or without her. That's what Stoicism teaches us. Man is disturbed not by things but by the views he takes of them. Epictetus, translation. You're not disturbed by whether she's responding fast enough or giving you attention, unless you let yourself be. And that's what separates a man of power from a man of neediness. The man of power remains grounded. He likes her, sure, but he doesn't crave her validation. If she responds, great. If she pulls away, no problem, because his life, his peace, his self-respect aren't on the line. But the needy man, he's watching his phone. He's replaying her words in his head. He's anxious when she doesn't text back. He's constantly wondering, did I do something wrong? That energy is heavy, and women feel it. And when they do, attraction fades. Here's another truth most men miss. When a woman senses that you need her more than she needs you, she starts to lose respect. And once respect is gone, attraction is gone. It's not personal, it's nature. Now, how do you build this power? It starts with how you live. When your life is full, with purpose, with goals, with a strong mission, your energy naturally shifts. You're no longer sitting around hoping for her text. You're building, you're moving forward. And that naturally creates emotional power because you're not placing your self-worth in her hands. Another key: boundaries. A man of power has standards. He doesn't tolerate disrespect. He doesn't beg for attention. If she pulls away, if she plays games, he walks. Not out of anger, out of self-respect. And that's attractive. Because here's something every man needs to understand. Women test men consciously or unconsciously. They want to know, can I shake his frame? Can I get under his skin? Will he fold? And when you stay grounded, when you show her that nothing she does can pull you off center, that's when attraction grows. Because now you're not reacting, you're choosing. And women crave men who choose, not men who chase. So if you take one thing from this, remember this: power attracts, neediness repels. Build your life. Hold your frame. Choose her, don't chase her. And you'll be amazed at how the dynamic shifts. Number 2. Walking away commands respect. Let's talk about something most men never master: walking away. It sounds simple, but when emotions are involved, when you really like her, that's when it becomes one of the hardest moves to pull off. And that's exactly why it's so powerful. Respect isn't something you can buy with gifts or earn with effort. It's not about how many dinners you take her to, or how often you show up. Respect is rooted in how you carry yourself, especially when things don't go your way. And here's the truth: nothing earns a woman's respect faster than a man who's willing to walk away when his standards aren't being met. Not out of ego, not as a game, but simply because he knows his worth. Most men, and you've seen this, hold on far too long. They tolerate behavior they shouldn't. They stay silent when they should speak. They hope things will change, and in the process they lose power. And here's the brutal truth: a woman cannot fully love a man she does not respect. You can be generous, you can be loyal, you can do everything right. But if you allow her to walk all over you, if you accept disrespect, she'll never look at you the same way again. Because deep down she knows this is not a man with a backbone. Now let's flip it. Man who calmly walks away, who holds his standards even when she's testing him, that man stands out. He doesn't need to raise his voice. He doesn't need to explain himself 10 times. He simply exits. And that energy, she feels it. It marks her. She might not say it out loud. She might even act cold at first. But deep down she respects it, because very few men can do it. Here's the thing: most women will test your strength even without realizing it. It's not personal, it's instinct. She wants to know, will you fold? Will you abandon your standards? Will you sacrifice your peace just to keep her? And when you stay grounded, when you walk away instead of begging, that's when respect is built. And respect is the foundation of everything. Without it, attraction dies. Now let's talk about fear. This is why most men stay stuck. They fear losing her. They think, if I walk away, she'll move on. I'll never get her back. But here's the truth. If a woman leaves you because you held your standards, you didn't lose her. You freed yourself. And if she's a woman worth keeping, walking away will only increase her desire to step up. Because now she knows you won't tolerate games, you won't be manipulated, you won't fold just to keep her around. That's when she starts thinking twice about how she treats you. Because you've shown her, I value myself first. And that's attractive. So, here's what I want you to remember. When you feel disrespected, when you feel the energy shift, you don't beg, you don't explain, you don't argue, you walk calmly, quietly, and with zero expectation, not to punish, not to get her back, but because your peace is non-negotiable. That's how you earn respect. That's how you flip the dynamic. And that's exactly the kind of man women can't forget. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever stayed too long when you knew you should have walked? If you've seen this, type it in the comments right now. I've seen this. And stick with me because what's coming next is critical. How emotional control, not reaction, makes you stand out even more. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 3. She's drawn to emotional control. Now this one, my friend, is a game changer. Because most men, even the ones who look strong on the outside, lose it right here. Emotional control. It's what separates the man she respects from the man she forgets. Let's get real. Women are emotional beings. That's part of what makes them so amazing. But it also means they live in an emotional world. And here's the key. She's drawn to a man who can navigate that world without getting pulled into the storm. Because when you react to her mood swings, when you let her tests shake you, when you lose your center, you stop being that safe, grounded presence she craves. And trust me, most guys crumble here. They get triggered. They argue. They plead. They try to fix her feelings. And the more they do that, the less attractive they become. Why? Because now she's in control. Now she sees you as emotionally weak. And that's a huge turn-off, even if she can't explain it. On the flip side, a man who stays calm, who doesn't mirror her emotions, who remains centered even when she's spinning, that man is magnetic because he's rare. And women are wired to be drawn to strength, especially emotional strength. Now here's where Stoicism gives us an edge. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's the essence of emotional control. You can't control her moods. You can't control life's ups and downs, but you can always control your response. And when you do, you stand out. Because here's the thing, women will test you, not because they're evil, but because they want to feel your strength. They want to know, can he handle me? Can he stay calm when I can't? And if the answer is yes, that's when she relaxes. That's when trust builds. That's when attraction deepens on a level most men never reach. Now, how do you develop this kind of control? It starts with self-awareness. Notice your triggers. What makes you react? What situations pull you off balance? Because once you see the pattern, you can start to break it. Second, slow everything down. When emotions rise, breathe. Give yourself space. Respond. Don't react. It's simple, but powerful. And third, detach from outcome. When you're attached to winning an argument or fixing her feelings, you've already lost control. But when you're okay no matter what, when your peace isn't tied to her mood, you become unshakable. And that's the energy that draws her in. Because here's the deeper truth. Women aren't looking for a perfect man. They're looking for a man who can handle life and handle them with calm strength. When you show up with that energy, you become the anchor. You become the man she can lean on emotionally, mentally, even physically. And in today's world where most men are ruled by their emotions, that's incredibly attractive. So ask yourself, are you mastering this, or are you still letting her moods dictate your frame? Because the more you practice emotional control, the more she'll feel it, the more she'll crave your presence, and the more the dynamic will shift in your favor. Now, if you've ever noticed how women pull away when you get reactive, or lean in when you stay calm, type it below right now, I felt that. And stick with me, because what's coming next will blow your mind. How scarcity, when done right, actually builds obsession. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 4. Scarcity builds obsession. Let's talk about something that most men completely misunderstand, and it costs them big time. Scarcity. See, when most guys hear that word, they think playing hard to get or ignoring her on purpose. That's not it. Scarcity isn't about games, it's about value. And here's the simple truth. People obsess over what they can't easily have. It's human nature. Now, when it comes to women and attraction, this dynamic is even stronger. Because here's what you need to understand. The more available you are, the less she values your presence. Why? Because when you're always there, always responding, always chasing, you're sending one clear signal: I have nothing better going on. And that kills attraction. But when you're scarce, when your time is limited, when your presence isn't guaranteed, you flip the script. Now she's thinking about you. Now she's wondering what you're doing. Now, the obsession starts to build. But again, and this is key, it can't be fake. If you're pretending to be busy while sitting around thinking about her, she'll feel that. Women are intuitive. They know when it's real. That's why the foundation of scarcity is this: have a life that pulls you forward, a purpose, a mission, a path you're walking with or without her. When that's your focus, you won't be available all the time naturally, because your time is valuable, and what's valuable becomes desirable. Here's a perfect example. Think about a rare piece of art. It's not hanging in every shop window. It's not available to just anyone. That rarity creates obsession, because the mind starts to think, if I could just have it, if I could just get close to it, I'd feel special. And that exact same psychology applies to dating. When a woman senses that your attention is rare, that your time is limited, that not every woman gets access to you, that's when obsession starts. Now, why does this matter so much? Because we live in a world of abundance, of noise. She's constantly getting attention, likes, DMs, messages. Most men are flooding her with availability. But the man who is scarce, who values his time, who makes her work for his attention, that man stands out. Because here's the thing, women value what they earn, not what's handed to them. And when she invests effort into getting your attention, when she wonders when she'll see you again, that's when emotional attachment grows. So how do you live this out? First, fill your life with purpose. If you're constantly available, it's because your schedule is empty. Fill it. Gym, work, business, hobbies, brotherhood. The more you build you, the less available you'll be. Second, be intentional with your time. Don't drop everything the moment she texts. Don't rearrange your plans just to be with her. That doesn't build attraction. It builds boredom. But when you keep your priorities, when you let her fit into your life, not the other way around, that builds desire. Third, be okay with space. You don't need constant contact. You don't need daily validation. In fact, allowing space between interactions is what lets her think about you. And the more she thinks about you when you're not around, the more obsessed she becomes. That's the power of scarcity. But again, remember, this isn't about strategy. It's about mindset. A Stoic man isn't withholding his time to get a reaction. He's simply living his life first. And women sense that. And they're drawn to it. Now, if you've ever noticed how women lean in more when you pull back, or how they lose interest when you become too available, type it in the comments right now. I've seen this. And keep watching, because what's coming next will make this even stronger. How having real standards forces her to step up, or step out. Let's go. Number 5. You show you have standards. Let's be honest, folks. This is one of the biggest things that separates strong men from weak ones: standards. And here's something most guys never stop to think about. You're always communicating your standards, whether you realize it or not. Through what you tolerate, through what you allow, through how you respond when someone, especially a woman, tests you. See, the average guy is so afraid of rocking the boat that he has no standards. She cancels last minute, he shrugs it off. She takes hours or days to reply to texts, he keeps messaging. She's disrespectful in public, he stays quiet. And all of this sends one message loud and clear: I'll tolerate anything just to keep you around. Now here's the problem. No woman wants to be with a man who tolerates anything. She may use him. She may keep him around for a while. But deep down she doesn't respect him. And without respect, there's no real attraction. But flip that. When you show you have standards, when you calmly, firmly draw the line that commands respect, and that respect feeds attraction. Because now she's dealing with a man, not a boy, not another pushover, but a man who values himself, and women crave that energy. Now let's be clear, having standards doesn't mean being rude. It's not about being controlling. It's about knowing what you will and will not accept, and living that truth, without apology, without exception. Here's an example. If she starts showing flaky behavior, disappearing, pulling away, playing games, what do? Most guys double down. They chase harder. They try to win her back. But a man with standards, he pulls back or walks away. No anger, no drama, just a clear message. I don't tolerate low-effort energy. And that's powerful. Because now, she knows. She can't get lazy with you. She can't half-ass the connection. She can't disrespect you without consequences. And that changes how she interacts with you fast. Now here's where Stoicism ties in. Epictetus wrote, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." In other words, decide who you are, and live it. Decide what you'll tolerate, and stick to it. Because here's the thing, when you bend your standards for a woman, even just a little, you start losing her respect, and the more you bend, the faster attraction fades. But when you hold your line, even when it's hard, that's when you show true strength. Because most men won't do it. They fear losing her. But here's the truth. A woman who leaves because you had standards wasn't the right woman anyway. And a woman who's worth your time, she'll respect you more for it. She'll step up, or she'll step aside. Either way, you win. So, how do you start showing you have standards? First, get clear. What's acceptable to you? What's a deal breaker? What behavior crosses the line? Know this before you enter any relationship. Second, enforce those standards calmly. You don't need to lecture her. You don't need to argue. Your actions say it all. When something crosses the line, you step back, and you do it without guilt. And third, never compromise your standards out of fear. That's when you lose yourself. That's when you lose her respect. But when you stay true to your values, you become the kind of man she can't help but respect and desire. So if you've ever let your standards slip to keep a woman, and saw it backfire, drop it below right now. I've seen this. And stay with me, because next we're going to break down how to completely flip the script so she starts working for you. Let's go. Number 6. You flip the script. Let me tell you something, my friend. In almost every dating dynamic today, the same script plays out. Guy meets girl. Girl shows a little interest. Guy gets hooked fast. Suddenly he's texting all the time. He's chasing. He's rearranging his life for her. And she knows it. She feels it. And deep down she starts to lose interest. Why? Because the script is broken. He's giving all the energy. He's the one investing. He's making it too easy. And in that dynamic, she holds all the power. Now what happens when you flip that script? When you become the man who's not chasing, the man who's not desperate, the man whose life is full, and who lets her prove herself, everything changes. Because suddenly, she is the one leaning in. She's the one wondering, how do I get more of his attention? What does he think of me? Why isn't he chasing like every other guy? And that shift, that flip, is where real attraction starts to build. But here's what most men don't realize. Flipping the script isn't about playing games. It's about becoming a man of true value, a man with options, a man with standards, a man whose life doesn't revolve around any one woman. When you embody that energy, the dynamic reverses naturally, because now you're no longer chasing validation. You're choosing from a place of abundance, and that's exactly what women are drawn to. Now let's get practical. How do you actually flip the script? First, slow down the chase. Stop sending endless texts. Stop showing up just because she called. Stop making her the center of your world. Second, increase your value. Work on your body. Build your business. Strengthen your mindset. The more you invest in you, the more options you'll naturally have. And when you have options, that needy energy disappears. Third, set the frame. Instead of chasing her, let her step into your world. You set the tone. You decide when you're available. You lead calmly, confidently. And when you do this, she will feel the shift. Because now you're not just another guy seeking her approval. You're the man she's trying to win. And here's where Stoicism gives us an edge. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say, or think, or do, only what you do." When you live by this, when you stop trying to control her reactions, when you focus on your actions, your mission, your path, that's when the script flips naturally. Because now you're in your frame, and she's drawn to that frame. Here's the key takeaway. When you stop acting from need and start acting from strength, when you stop trying to win her over and start letting her earn her place in your life, the entire dynamic changes. That's when you become the prize. So let me ask you, have you ever caught yourself running the old script, chasing too hard, trying to force attraction? If so, drop it in the comments right now. And stay tuned, because what's coming next is where the real magic happens. How walking away at the right moment actually makes her start chasing you. You don't want to miss this. Let's keep going. Number 7. She starts to chase. All right, my friend, this is the moment most guys dream about. When she starts to chase. But here's the funny part. It doesn't happen the way most men think. It's not about saying the perfect line. It's not about having the perfect date. And it's definitely not about constantly proving your worth. It happens when you flip the entire dynamic the way we've been talking about in this video. When you live with strength. When you walk away when necessary. When you value your time. When you stop chasing. That's when the energy shifts. Suddenly she's the one wondering. She's the one thinking about you when you're not around. She's the one reaching out first. And the more you stay grounded in that energy, the more she leans in. Now let's break this down. Why does she start to chase? Because of one simple truth. Desire grows in uncertainty. When something is always there, always available, the mind gets bored. But when something valuable feels just out of reach, when there's mystery, when there's tension, that's when desire takes over. And here's what makes it even more powerful. When you're not trying to make her chase, when you're genuinely living your life, when you're focused on your mission, your growth, that authenticity is magnetic. Because she can feel it. She knows you're not sitting by the phone. She knows you're not waiting for her text. And that independence, that is what pulls her in. Now here's where most guys mess up. The moment she starts chasing, they flip. They get too excited. They drop all their boundaries. They go right back to the old dynamic. And just like that, the attraction fades. So how do you handle it when she starts to chase? Simple: stay grounded. Appreciate the attention, but don't overreact. Stay focused on your mission. Keep your frame. Let her come to you. And when you do, the chase continues. Because here's what happens in her mind. Why is he still so calm? Why isn't he more eager? What do I have to do to really win him over? And that question is what keeps her coming back. Now let's add one more layer. Stoicism teaches us freedom is the only worthy goal in life. And when you live with true freedom, emotional freedom, that's when you become irresistible, because you're not chasing any woman. You're not trying to lock her down. You're simply living as a man of value on your own path. And if she fits into